Welcome back everybody, K1 Star here with another video. But before I get started, I just want to talk about Mr. Greatness Studios himself, Odd God on Instagram. He actually worked on my new logo for these videos / animation. So please go check him out. He's a freelance graphic designer. He does shirts, masks, of course logos, any type of graphics, whatever you need, he's got you. And trust me, he's extremely reliable, unlike some people. You ask me for something, you probably never got it. You ask him, you're definitely gonna get it. Trust me, I know. But yes, his work is awesome, it's quick, so whatever you need, he'll get it out to you as soon as possible. Once again, Greatness Studios on Instagram / Odd God. But let's get started. So we had a trifecta of fight cards this week from January 16th to January 23rd. And of course I said I'm only doing these videos for UFC pay-per-view cards. Hey, they start off the year with 3 cards within a week span, so might as well talk about all of them and just nitpick things I've seen from each one. And the cards that we had was Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar. We had Magny versus Chiesa. And of course the big one, we had Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor. So for each card, I'm just gonna pick out little tidbits and stuff here and there that I recognize. We'll just work our way through each one leading up to the Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor fight. Hopefully this video is not too long. I actually want to try to make this one shorter, but if it ends up going long, then it's whatever, hopefully you guys enjoy. To kick off this trifecta of cards, we first have Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar. So the prelims to this card was okay, but the main card was great. We had a trio of KOs. Unfortunately, a part of those trios was Joaquin Buckley. If you guys don't know him, he has possibly one of the greatest knockouts ever in combat sports history. And unfortunately, he was on the wrong side of a knockout this time. He lost by, surprisingly, a head kick in the first round to Alessio Di Cicero, if I said that right. So we kind of know his status now. He's probably going to be a kill or be killed type of fighter. Within the last year, he has 2 great knockout wins, but he also has 2 knockout losses. So we kind of know where he's at. So I mean, unless he drops down in weight, he's kind of thick, so it's probably going to be hard. It's going to be hard for him probably to compete against bigger middleweights. I'm gonna just say that, he'll probably be a good action fighter, but for him to rise up, he's gonna have to change something. But hey, whether he's in there knocking people out or getting knocked out, I guess it's gonna be exciting. So keep lookout on Joaquin Buckley, but shout out to Alessio Di Cicero. I think he was on a 3-fight losing streak, or he had a couple losses in a row, and he was able to rise his stock a little bit with this win, and he's a serviceable middleweight. He's a little bit of a tough out for anybody. He's just one of those weird fighters that he's hard to put away, and he just makes you look bad and at the most random times. So yeah, shout out to him. Great win. Now for our co-main event, we have Carlos Condit and Matt Brown, and this fight was scheduled 2 times in the past, but I guess 3rd time's a charm. This is about the best fight we can get from these two at this point in their careers, and it was a good fight. It wasn't a stand-up affair everybody expected back in 2013. It was a great, gritty fight. It was a little bit of a war of attrition. They showed off some new wrinkles in their game, so it's like they probably can't compete at the highest levels, but they showed that they're still developing even at their age, and where the state of their bodies is, and the position they are in the division. But they still showed up. Great fight from those two. It was a really fun fight. I liked it. Both guys had good takedowns, especially that sweep that Carlos Condit did in the second round. It was beautiful, and then Matt Brown landed a solid elbow in that second round too. So it was a good fight. I liked it. The big one here, and possibly the performance out of all 3 of these cards. The performance out of all 3 of these cards. Max Holloway completely dominated Calvin Kattar. Now, I'm not going to touch on this too much. Just go watch the fight for yourself if you can find it somewhere, go ahead and illegally stream it. Max Holloway did a huge shutout on Calvin Kattar, who is a good fighter. Max Holloway wanted to make a point. He wanted to be he's the best boxer in the UFC, and I guess he made his point. He was a little bit upset that Kattar was making some comments saying Max is a freshman in boxing, and Kattar is the senior. But yeah, like Max said, he's the freshman that comes up and take your girl. But on a serious note, yeah, Max showed up. His boxing, his volume, everything was just at an all-time high. And he showed new things. He showed like I never really seen him do it that much, but the standing oblique kicks where where you attack the knees. He showed elbows in this fight too. Like he was showing some new stuff on top of his already great kickboxing, more boxing eccentric style. It was really a joy to watch. The game plan he had for Kattar was just clearly unstoppable. Like it was brutal. It was brutal. It was exciting and brutal at the same time. The third round, was getting close to like maybe we should stop this. But the fourth round, yeah, you definitely should have stopped it. And that man Max landed 141 strikes. This man was breaking records. Please just go to Wikipedia. Go to Wikipedia and just look at this man's stats. All of those literally just came from his last fight. He just broke mad records. And then in that fifth round, it probably should have been stopped in the fourth round. But that fifth round was exciting as hell. Max Holloway just showed off, and he was like, "I'm the best boxer in the UFC, baby."
To the commentary team. The best boxer in the UFC, baby. Right hand.
While he was ducking and diving Calvin Kattar's punches, it was a joy to watch. I loved every second of it, even though I think it should have been stopped. And shout out to Calvin Kattar. I think he's still a good fighter. He needs to take a long rest and just shell up some of those holes in his game. Like that shelling up was basically his main problem. Like he was able to still land some good punches on Max. Like, don't get me wrong, he was not in the fight, but he still showed he's still a good fighter. But some of those defensive woes he had, like I think he's lost 3 times just basically on somebody just keeping up the pressure and keeping up the volume. Renato Moicano did the same thing with kicks to the leg and then just constantly throwing punches his way. Same thing with Zabit. Zabit showed a very diverse arsenal, and he was able to keep Calvin Kattar on his toes and wouldn't let him get off anything until the third round of their fight. And of course, Max Holloway just completely exploited it badly, hugely badly. So hopefully he gets some time to heal and he can come back later. But yeah, Max Holloway, he's, Volkanovski. I think Max Holloway is the best featherweight in the world. It's just Volkanovski. It's the perfect style matchup for him currently, even though they had a close last fight. And I think Volkanovski can do it again, surprisingly, because Max Holloway still has like little problems he has to just solve in order to clear that out in the third fight if they fight again. It's just a weird fight for Max. Like, it's ways to stop Max, and Volkanovski, I believe he figured out that perfect style to do it. But all in all, I don't know what Max is gonna do. If he can move up, I think he should move up. I don't think he should move up, but if he moves up, I think he's gonna be a great addition to the lightweights, and he can give them some problems too. If he stays down at featherweight, I guess he can meet the winner of Ortega and Volkanovski. Is gonna be a harder sell for the Volkanovski third fight, even though a lot of people want to see it still. Just depending on what Volkanovski want to do. But if Ortega wins, bam, another title shot for Max. So shout out to Max Holloway, best boxer in the UFC, baby. Now on to the next card. Michael Chiesa versus Magny. Not much to talk about here. It was a decent card, but I just really want to talk about the main event real quick. Michael Chiesa absolutely dominated Magny. So we had two shutouts. Of course, Max was a little bit worse, but this is like kind of the polar opposite, at least with the grappling. So, Max had the striking, Chiesa had the grappling. So yeah, he completely dominated Magny. And now about this fight, I think Chiesa is really good. He's actually really, really good on the ground. I mean, I knew he was always good, but now that he's showing up and fighting, bigger fighters, because he came up from lightweight to welterweight, and now he's on a 4-fight win streak against some, solid competition. He's really coming to into his form, into his prime. He looked good on the ground. He had a couple of setups standing, to threaten and to get into the takedown, at least the body lock and all that stuff. And he was able to get Neil Magny down multiple times and able to keep him down. Neil Magny, he's a tough veteran. He has the second most wins, I believe, in welterweight behind George St. Pierre. So, he's a tough out. He's a winner. And he just couldn't do anything in this fight. And it was just really weird from Neil Magny because he kept engaging in the grappling with Chiesa. I want to say his plan was to, wear him out. It was just like 3 rounds in, why are you still trying to go for a takedown? It wasn't working out for him. Like, he had a couple instances where he got Chiesa a little bit uncomfortable. And I guess slight trouble with the inverted triangle, I believe, in the 3rd or 4th round. All in all, he was losing all the scrambles. He couldn't stay standing for long, and in the clinch, sometimes he was able to keep Chiesa from doing anything, but eventually he would, of course, try a takedown, and he would fall into himself and let Chiesa get the advantage and get top control. All in all, Chiesa looked great. He's a huge threat on the ground to anybody in the division. I like the call out from him against Colby Covington, because I think where Chiesa's going to struggle is probably somebody who can nullify his grappling, of course, and this would be another grappler. And of course, Colby is a great wrestler, but also the thing is, Colby's a good striker too, or he's a high-paced volume striker. So I think that's probably one of the worst matchups for him besides Kamaru Usman, of course. And besides those two, Gilbert is going to be a tough matchup too. Of course, a grappler, and Gilbert striking is looking really good lately too. And I think besides those three, those three, of course, are grapplers, good striking. The only other person will be Wonder Boy. And the Wonder Boy, if he can't get Wonder Boy down, he's probably going to get let up. So those four fighters, Usman, Wonder Boy, Burns, and Colby are going to be the tough outs for Chiesa. And I'm glad he's taken at least one of those steps. Because if he beats one of them, not beats one of them, besides Kamaru and Gilbert, because they're fighting for the title. If he can beat Colby or Wonder Boy, he should be fighting for the title. Or be somehow close. And I don't know who else he would fight. But yeah, definitely I like the Colby Covington call out. If he can beat him, that would be great on Chiesa. Whoops, almost forgot. Shout out to Mike Davis and Mason Jones for the absolute best, and I mean the best and most competitive fight out of all 3 of these fight cards. That thing was a straight banger. 2 rising lightweights. 2 exciting lightweights. Straight great fight. A really good fight. If you can go check it out, Mike Davis versus Mason Jones. Now, of course, we all know why we hear Conor McGregor's return, but instead of going down the rest of the card, of course, I just want to talk about the co-main event and the main event. And starting off with the co-main event, we had Michael Chandler versus Dan Hooker. In my mind, I was actually picking Dan Hooker to beat Michael Chandler because Michael Chandler, of course, he's still a great lightweight, no denying, but he tends to blitz on the linear line a lot, especially in the beginning of fights, the first 2 rounds. He's a great blitzer. Trust me, he's a great blitzer. If you watch all his knockouts and his finishes, there's a reason he does it. But he also does it on a linear line too, and I think that's gotten him in trouble sometimes. Has gotten him caught and, of course, finished. Dan Hooker is great at countering on a linear line. He's got a couple standing knee knockouts, of course, because due to his height and reach, he's able to get those knockouts fairly easily. And I thought it was just going to be a recipe for disaster for Michael Chandler. Definitely proved me wrong, and I'm kind of happy. And of course, if you don't know who Michael Chandler is, he was the former Bellator lightweight champion. We've been begging to get him over to the UFC for a while, but he kept teasing it, and then he will sign a new contract with Bellator. He was probably making a lot more money in Bellator, and probably something to do with the drug testing too. But he's finally here in the UFC, and he came in here with a bang. He's got the finish over Hooker with, I believe, a straight left to the body, and he came over the top and big overhand, knocked Hooker down, and he just kept up the punches and never let Hooker get any type of consciousness back under him. And Dan Hooker is really tough too. He's only gotten finished, I believe, just due to the body shot from Essen Barboza. So Michael Chandler finishing Dan Hooker, who's been in there with of course Barboza, but he got finished. Dustin Poirier, Paul Felder, Yair Rodriguez, the list goes on. Him knocking him out the way he did is really, really impressive. Dan Hooker is super tough, and it's kind of weird. It seemed like he was kind of like not timid, but he was backing up in this fight. Probably was trying to keep his range, of course, because Michael Chandler got great wrestling. But he was trying to land a low kick, the low calf kick, which gave Michael Chandler problems in the past. He lost his lightweight title to Brent Primus due to the low calf kick, him losing his nerve, so he was trying to attack that foot again. But yeah, he wasn't really doing much. In a short period of time, he didn't really do much besides that kick. And he's probably maybe a little intimidated. I don't want to accuse a fighter of being intimidated, but I don't think he could figure out what to do in a short amount of time. Even the way with Michael Chandler fights, like you gotta know what you want to do fast, because Michael Chandler's just gonna be in your face. And unfortunately, he suffered his first head strike knockout. So hopefully he comes back. And the sucky part about this loss is he's got to stay quarantined, I think, in Abu Dhabi for basically the next month. He can't go back home till February 25th. So that sucks. But for Michael Chandler, he should probably either fight for the title or fight Gaethje next. I would prefer the Gaethje fight. Of course, everybody wants to see the Gaethje fight. Just have, I think he even wants to see the Gaethje fight too, Michael Chandler. It's just going to be a downright gritty war. Somebody's getting knocked out, no matter what. I feel like even though I feel like I say that, they'll go to decision, but that's a fight that needs to be 5 rounds, but probably end up being a co-main event on the card. It has to happen. I feel like that's a fight that has to happen, and it's going to be amazing. Or, of course, he can fight for the title versus Dustin Poirier. That would be a great fight too, an awesome fight too. I just don't think it should happen now because you have Charles Oliveira. That's the biggest reason. You have Charles Oliveira. He really banked in on this UFC debut. That's how you do it, Michael Chandler. Hats off to you. Sorry for doubting you. He was looking like a super, super dangerous addition to this lightweight division. Now on to the main event. Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor. Now, this was an interesting fight. It started off with a lot of clinches. Dustin Poirier went for the takedown. He was able to get him down he was able to get Conor down a little bit. And, Conor's butt scooted back to the fence. And, of course, Dustin Poirier taking down McGregor. Basically, if McGregor won, that kind of hurts his chances too. I know they're two different fighters, but if you get taken down by Dustin Poirier, no offense, it doesn't really help your chances in the rematch with Khabib if it ever happened. But yeah, DP took him down. He butt scooted to the fence, and it was kind of mostly a back and forth shoulder strike war, surprisingly, in the clinch. But you could tell DP was trying to wear out Conor, but Conor was landing some good strikes, good shoulder strikes. And of course, when they broke apart, he was able to land that left hand a couple times on Dustin. And in turn, Dustin was able to start off with the leg kicks towards the end of the first round. But you can tell, the 6-part span and the move up to lightweight really helped Dustin out in this one. Because in that first round, Dustin was taking some shots. I think, like I said, Conor was landing the left hand, and of course the little duck over lead uppercut Conor would land to. He was taking those shots as well. And of course, since the move up in weight, technically for both of them, I think he was able to, take those shots a little bit better than he did, of course, in the first fight. I think Dustin figured out maybe what Conor's plan was, because when he started kicking the leg, Conor wasn't really doing anything. Dustin kicked the leg in the first fight. I think Dustin was a little hesitant on what to do. And Conor's pressure basically led him right into the left hand, and Dustin got knocked out. I think this time, of course, Dustin had a plan for it. He attacked the leg. Surprisingly, Conor wasn't doing anything. Well, not surprisingly, but Conor wasn't reacting to it at all. So in the second round, Dustin went right back to it again. Threw a lot of kicks to the leg, and it really started hurting Conor. And now with Conor, I don't know why, but he just tried to keep that boxing approach to it. I don't know if it's because of the Floyd Mayweather fight. He just wants to stick close to like a boxing-eccentric style, but this really hurt him in the fight. Conor got his legs absolutely destroyed because he was super flat-footed, and not only that, he was able to back up Dustin. Dustin admitted it. A couple of those shots was actually, hurt him. And he said if he would have pressured him a lot more, he probably would have been in some trouble. But of course, he couldn't really do that much after he got kicked in the leg several times. His movement was beginning to get compromised. Strange thing is he didn't incorporate the kicks, which I think is an essential part of Conor's game. His movement and his kicks, along with his boxing. The movement and the kicks were absent. I don't know if he just thought like, hey, Dustin might box with me throughout the whole fight and I'm gonna win. And clearly he didn't. Basically, you know, like I said, Dustin was wearing on him with those kicks, and you could see time and time again, you know, Conor was getting buckled and getting buckled. And then also for Conor to land his best punch, Dustin had an answer to that too. So basically, if Dustin was able to slip that straight left that Conor, you know, knocked a lot of people out with, and even though Dustin, you know, kind of like slips to the power side to where if he, you know, if it lands on Dustin, you know, it's gonna hurt him bad. He was able to slip the punch and counter with a right hook right on Conor. He did that several times, and that was a big thing in this fight too. He was catching him each time. I think he caught him like maybe three times, four times, with that same right hook. So he had an answer for Conor McGregor's power punch and his best punch, and the punch that previously knocked out Dustin Poirier. And that final kick before the finishing sequence, yeah, you can tell Conor's leg was done. If it didn't end at that point, then it was probably gonna end in the third round or soon after that, let's say that. But yeah, that swarm was absolutely brutal. You know, we've seen Dustin do that plenty of times to fighters. Of course, most notably, Eddie Alvarez, that swarm against the cage, absolutely had Conor hurt. Conor couldn't do anything. So he just took the shots, and then he knocked him down with two right hooks. You know, one right hook knocked him down, then the other right hook finished him on the ground. And the most surprising thing about this fight to me, or somewhat surprising, is just Conor McGregor's no urgency to like fight, like get that gritty dog fight out of him. You know, when he gets hurt, it just seems like he just kind of like take it. You know, I'm not saying nothing is like, you know, wrong with him. You know, I mean, if you're hurt, you're hurt. You're not there. Especially if you take a headshot, you're not there. But we've seen it in the Floyd Mayweather way. You know, he got tired and then he got swarmed. He just didn't fight back. You know, the Nate Diaz fight, the first one, he got hit, he got rocked, he got tired, and he just kind of let the finish happen. The Khabib finish, you know, he got taken down, probably a little bit tired. He just let the choke happen. I ain't saying he's doing this on purpose, but it's just a little bit weird. And of course, with the Dustin Poirier fight, I think he swung like twice out of the 20 or so 30 punches that Dustin Poirier had within that sequence. Conor only swung like twice, and it wasn't like he was hurt to the head. I mean, he did get hit with a solid left from DP, but it was his leg, I think, that was more so hurt, and he couldn't move, but he wasn't even trying to swing. And I know a lot of his power comes from his feet. So if your legs is gone, how you going to generate power or even hurt somebody? But it seemed like he did anything. He just kind of like took it. So I think that's kind of something he has to shut up in his game, along with some other things too. Now, for the future of both guys, I think Dustin Poirier is the lightweight champion now. You know, Khabib is retired. He needs to stay retired. He beat both guys. He has nothing to prove. Don't come back. They really missed the opportunity of making this fight for the lightweight title. And either man would have been a great champion between Conor or Poirier. But Poirier would have been champion. Would have been freaking champion. But the UFC didn't. So absolutely, Dustin Poirier's next fight should be for the lightweight title. And I personally think he should fight Charles Oliveira. But if not, Michael Chandler is a good option. And for Conor, I think he should probably fight, you know, somebody like Felder, maybe Tony. I think he can beat Tony at this point in time. Possibly a Gagey fight. And then, of course, the big one, Nate Diaz. If their careers end up back to each other again, you know, they said they both want to run it back. You know, the trilogy fight with Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor's out there too. Just not now. That definitely should not be for the next fight for either man. So yeah, great cards or great things from each card that we had through this 1 week span. So I'm gonna see you guys next time on UFC 258. I'll be back with you guys with another episode of Fight Bites in March. Thank you. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoy. It's your boy K1 Star. Peace.